Hello everyone, David7Skies here, and today I'm back with a new tutorial. We're gonna be looking at how to recreate that plucky sound from the Ed Sheeran song Shape of You, and it sounds a little bit like this. Okay, so the melody that I made is slightly different because I don't want to get a YouTube strike. Nobody wants that. But also the melody is not really important. What really matters is the sound. And we're going to look at how to do that in Massive in just a second. Now before we start, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the bell button right next to it, because I will be online for 30 minutes every time I upload a video and I will reply to all of your comments. Now it's time to open Live, open Massive, and make this sound. All right, here we are in Live, and the first thing we're going to do is reset our Massive, and we are going to do that by clicking on New Sound over here, and we're going to get a super simple saw wave. And the sound is really simple. However, there's a few tricks in this sound that can come very handy when you're making your own plucky sound or lead sound. So another thing that we have to do, first thing first, is changing our oscillator from saw wave to a sine wave. And we do that by clicking over here and sin square. Now we have a square wave. And if we get this wavetable position all the way to the left, we get a nice sine wave. Now, one thing about sine wave, very quickly. Sine wave only have one harmonic. And what does that mean? Well, the reason why I have this spectrum open here is that so you can see what I mean. And if I'm playing a sine wave, you'll see that there's only one peak on the actual spectrum. Right. So if let me go back really quickly to a saw. You can see that there's plenty of peaks in the spectrum, even if the note is exactly the same. So those peaks are actually called harmonics, and sine wave is usually very good for basses because it only has one harmonic, and so it's very focused on that harmonic, and it doesn't give us distraction. And in the low end part, it's actually very handy. So we have our sine wave, and this is how it sounds now. Still very far from what we are looking for. The first thing we're going to change is in envelope 4. Envelope 4 in Massive always controls the amplitude envelope. So this will actually give us the shape of our sound. So by doing this, by lowering this level knob over here, I'm actually going to tell Massive to lower the volume as I keep my note down. So hear the difference if I take it all the way up. And this decay knob over here tells Massive how long it will take for my note to become silent. So the higher the decay level is, the longer it'll take to go down to 0 volume. While the shorter the decay, the quicker it'll go to silent. So let's try and find a sweet spot for this type of sound. I'd say this is pretty good. One thing we're gonna do is we're gonna increase the release a little bit, and what does that do is basically it's gonna have Massive playing the notes that we're playing even after we release our notes. So the notes are gonna be a little bit more glued together. Hear the difference? When When the release is all the way to 0, the notes are way more stabby, and if we crank it up a little bit, all right, so this is actually the right shape, and the sound is definitely not there just yet, but we're getting pretty close. So the other thing that is basically the main thing in this type of sound is how punchy it is. Now, if we play the notes, they're not really punchy. They have a normal attack, but they don't snap. While in the original song and in the sound that I played, the sound actually snaps. So how do we do that? Well, there is a bit of a concept that I want to explain to you, and is the concept of pitch envelope. So what we're doing now is we're taking envelope 1 and we are assigning it to the pitch of our oscillator 1. And what's that going to do is that based on the value, which right now is 64, we're going to go up 64 semitones to this level, and then we're going to go down to a certain level that we decide. Now, if we would stay up here, we would just go up 64 semitones and we wouldn't come down, because you can see we are staying up until we release our note. And in that case, when we are over here, this would be 0 and it would be the same tone that we have normally. Now, if we take this all the way down, we're going to go up to 64 semitones, and then based on the decay time, we're going to go back down to 0. So we're going to have this kind of a lasery sound. So let's play. So if I increase the decay, the lasery sound is going to be longer. The sweep that we're going to have is going to be way longer. Obviously, I need to, just for the sake of demonstration, I need to take the volume of envelope 4 back up so that you can actually hear. All right, and see what happens. We're actually covering the whole spectrum. And now, if we make this sweep very fast, we're going to have the same sweep, but we're not going to be able to hear this sweep because it's too fast. And so what we're going to get is a very, very clicky sound. So let me move the decay and you'll hear exactly what's happening. So this sweep is so fast, our brain and our ears can't catch it. And so it becomes just a simple click. Now we are going to take this all the way down again so that we can have a shorter sound. And let's play the sound once. Okay, it's way closer to the actual sound that I played at the beginning. I think the click might still be a little bit too much. So if you take it all the way down, the click will be so fast that you're actually not going to be able to hear it, and it'll sound like it's not there. So we just want to have it slightly up. And I think this is perfect. Now, another thing that we can do is we can adjust this level so we can fine tune how hard this clicky sound is. And I actually like it about there. Now, one more thing that we can do is add a bit of a filter. And in this case, we're going to modulate the filter with envelope 2, because obviously envelope 1 is already modulating the pitch on oscillator 1. So we're going to take envelope 2, we're going to assign it to the cutoff in filter 1, And once again, we want to have a quick attack, and we want to go all the way down, so to this point. And we want to be pretty fast, pretty much the same speed that we have on our volume modulation, on our volume envelope. All right, that sounds about right. Now another thing that we can do, you can hear that the clicky sound is a little bit inconsistent. It moves a little bit all over the place. So what we can do is we can reset the oscillator phase, and what that's gonna do is it's gonna force our oscillator to always start at the same point in the wave. Now another thing we have to do is increase the release, because we have to catch the same release that we have in the amplitude envelope. That sounds about right. Another thing that we can do is we can use a high metallic noise, so that we can have a bit of a bit of a metallic sound to it, just so that it sounds a little bit more organic. So I'm gonna mute oscillator 1, so you can hear what I'm talking about. It's very quiet, but it'll do. All right, so I think the sound is pretty much there. Now, there's a couple of things we can do to make it even cooler. If we turn on a sample delay over here, what we can do is we can double the signal and delay it a little bit. What's that gonna do is it'll basically flam our sound. It'll make it sound like the notes are sort of delayed with each other, and that's gonna sound like someone is actually playing a real instrument. So let me show you what I'm talking about. I'm just gonna make it extreme for now so that you can really hear what's going on, and then I'm gonna take the time knob down until it sounds decent. I think right there is pretty cool. You can hear the two sound kind of flaming. Maybe I can take it down a little bit. And now let's put some effects. Dimension expander, obviously, probably the best insert in Massive. And then let's put some reverb. It's definitely too much. And now let's add some EQ. I'm not a fan of the highs in this sound right now. And there you have it. Now you can change the amount of the filter over here if you want to make it brighter or darker. So if we take it all the way down, what's going to happen is that this envelope is going to open the filter all the way down, and the sound is going to be way too bright. In my opinion, it's going to sound too fake. Or you can take it down and you can make it darker. But I think in both of these cases, it's either too dark or too bright, and it doesn't sound as good as it should. So I'm gonna take it pretty much back to where it was. Now, I think it sounds pretty good. So I'm not a super fan of massive reverb, to be honest. I just put it there for the sake of it, to give it a bit of space. And if you don't have, you know, I didn't want to use any third-party reverb, because if you don't have it, you're not going to have the same result. So I think the original track actually has a kalimba sample in it. So this sound gets very close. However, it's probably not the same sound. All right, so this is it. This is how easy it is to make this sound. And like I said, the trick here is all made by this envelope one on the pitch envelope to get that clicky sound. Then just a bit of a good combination between the cutoff and the amplitude envelope done right to make it sound a little bit more real and bouncy, as opposed to, you know, very staticky and stabby, which is the problem that synthesizers sometimes have. But super simple. This sound is actually gonna be in a free pack that I put together that comes from my new sound set, The Future. So there's a link down below. If you want to get the preset, you can just go download the preset for free, along with 6 other presets, I think. So yeah, let me know in the description what do you think about the sound, and if you liked it, thumb me up, and I'll see you in the next video. From me, David, Seven Skies. Bye bye.